Kai Sotto will get drafted next week. What is up, NBA fans and Kai Sotto fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. I was taking a look at this lineup of teams that have draft picks coming up next week. Yes, the draft is next week. And as I looked over, it's like, you know what? There are a lot of teams that I think may take Kai Sotto in the NBA draft. And because of this, that's why I say he will get drafted next week. Not only is he a talented big man, he's a huge man. He's a kaiju. But he will also bring in fans. And if you can get a player that helps you win on the court, but also on the business side off the court, that is a rare win-win. So I think he's going to get drafted next week. I'm going to talk about the teams that I think that will draft him. Drop a comment down below. Which teams do you think are the most likely to draft Kai next week? Hit that thumbs up if you like to help support a fellow Kai fan. And subscribe for more Kai content. So as I'm talking about these teams and going over the rosters, by the way, I'll be referencing Basketball Reference. So if something's wrong, my apologies. Also, rosters change in a moment's notice. The Oklahoma City Thunder have made a trade since I started working on this video. They traded for Jermichael Green and do not have the 30th pick, so they don't have 4 picks in the entire draft. They now have 3. Should also be noted, Kai Sotto has worked out with the New York Knicks, the Orlando Magic, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Chicago Bulls, Dub Bulls, and the Atlanta Hawks. So take that for what you will. Getting right into it, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yes, I do think there's a very good chance they could draft Kai with their 34th pick. I know a lot of you want him to go in the first round. A lot of NBA analysts don't think he's going to get drafted at all. I do think that he's got a very solid shot at getting drafted in the second round, and we could see him as a surprise late first rounder if a team says, you know what, we want him, and we don't want to lose him to somebody else in the second round. We got to take him now. So you never know with drafts, guys. You can all say no chance. Some of you haters that say there's no chance he's going to get drafted. We've seen crazy things happen. We just saw in the NFL draft. I think we're going to see some craziness in the NBA draft coming. Anyway, Oklahoma City Thunder, yes, I do think they draft him. Looking at their centers, Derek Favors, Mike Muscala, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, they could definitely use an upgrade at center, and Kai brings size. I think all the centers for the Thunder are 6'10 and under, and he could be a starter. Who knows? Maybe later this year. Maybe day one. Who the heck knows? But the Thunder team, I think, could draft him. My San Antonio Spurs. Yes, I also think there's a chance they could draft him while they have 3 centers on their roster right now. Jakob Poeltl, Zach Collins, and Jock Landale. All could be off the team as soon as next season, after next season. And the San Antonio Spurs love taking chances on foreign players. Sometimes it's a swing and a miss with Luka Samanic, but other times it's a grand slam with Manu Ginobili. Kai Sotto also has some love for the Spurs and Tim Duncan, so this sounds like it would be match made in heaven. If he's available at 38, I'm hoping the Spurs grab him with that pick. Moving right along, I don't think the Timberwolves will draft him. They got a cat. They have, I think, is there Nazel Reed, the Nosy Reed, I forgot his name, as a solid backup. But the Orlando Magic, I do say yes to that. They have 2 second-round picks, 32, 35. Yes, they have 4 centers. Mo Bamba, who I don't believe is under contract anymore. Moritz Wagner, Wendell Carter Jr., Robin Lopez. They certainly could use Kai Sotto's talent and size, and certainly the fan base. So the Orlando Magic are a yes. Also in the yes territory, the Sacramento Kings. Now, they have 5 listed centers on their roster, NBA fans. Chimezie Metu, Damian Jones, Rashawn Holmes, Alex Len, Neemias Queta. I think they're probably going to unload some of those centers, and if Kai Sotto's there at 37 or 49, I could see them drafting him. They need fans. They need to win on the court, too. They haven't made the playoffs since, 2006, but they need an influx of fans. All that losing for a decade and a half cannot be helping ticket sales, merch sales, whatever, and Kai Sotto would bring in a massive Filipino following, so they could certainly use his talents and fan base. Up next is Indiana Pacers. I lean towards maybe with the Pacers, Kai fans, simply because they have Miles Turner, one of the best shot blockers in the business, and they also have a solid backup in Goga Badadze. Could they use some depth at center, sir? So that's why I say maybe they stick of the Pacers. I don't know if you can hear that. Wow, that's loud going over my head. I could see the Pacers drafting him at 31. If he's there at 58, I definitely could see them drafting him. Moving right along, the Portland Trailblazers. I say that's also, I think yes, I think Portland could take him, 36 or 57th pick. Again, these late picks, if Kai Sotto's there, if he's still there in the 50s, you're nuts if you're not taking him. But I don't think he's going to go that far. I can't imagine him going that deep in the draft. Anyway, Portland Trailblazers, their main centers, Yusuf Nurkic, Drew Eubanks, former San Antonio Spurs. Yes, I could see Portland drafting him. The Pelicans, looking at their roster, I don't think they're likely to draft him. Moving right along. Charlotte Hornets, I listed as maybe, it would be interesting, as one of their centers on their roster is Kai Jones. So if Kai Jones is still there and they draft Kai Sotto, you have the Kai brothers. Okay, maybe not. They also have Montrezl Harrell, who knows what's going on with him next year. Mason Plumlee, Nick Richards, and I say that because Montrezl Harrell tends to. He's a journeyman. He bounces between the teams, so I could see the Hornets possibly drafting him with you. Well, just the 45th pick. If he's there 45, I could see them taking him. I don't see the Cavaliers drafting him, even though I know he worked out with them. They have so many bigs on their team right now. I believe Jarrett Allen's their main center. They have a bajillion power forwards that could play small ball in their lineup, so I don't see that happening. Memphis Grizzlies too, looking over their roster. I don't think there's likely. I don't think they're likely not to draft them either. The Golden State Warriors. I already kind of touched on this in a different video. The Warriors, maybe. Now James Wiseman is, if he's healthy, should be the guy at center for them next year. And wish him, continued speedy recovery. They also have my man Looney Tunes, Kevin Looney, and Namaji Bjelica. So I think there's a chance they could draft him for some depth, especially with those two late second round picks they have, 51 and 55. Akai Sotto was still available at that time. By all means, yes. Come on. What are you doing? And then teams with two picks. I want to address some teams here that I think might take Kai. The New York Knicks, who he's worked out with, I think that's a yes. I think the Knicks definitely could draft him. Their center situation, Mitchell Robinson, Taj Gibson, Nerlens Noel is not ideal. I think they definitely take him with the 42nd pick if he's available. The Atlanta Hawks, I know he worked out with the Hawks, and that's actually the last team that he worked out with, and he's been training in Atlanta, but the Hawks I tend to lean towards no. And this is one of the only teams I'm going to mention a no for, really, is they've got Clint Capella, and unless they're moving on from Clint Capella, they also have Onyeka Okongwu, who they just drafted a couple years ago, plus Gorgie Deng. So they seem like they're pretty set at center. Could they grab him at 44? Anything's possible, NBA fans, but I think the Hawks are more than likely no. And watch the Atlanta Hawks be the ones that draft him just to prove me wrong. And last but not least, doubles. Chicago Bulls only have one pick this year. It's the 18th overall pick. I lean towards no towards this one as well. The current center situation is Nikola Vucevic, who is going to be a starter until his contract runs out, whenever that is. Backing him up, Tony Bradley, Marko Simonovic. If the Bulls feel that he is a first-round pick, then that switches from I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with the Bulls. I tend to lean towards no because they only have one pick, the 18th overall pick. If they took him at 18, that would be awesome for him because then he would be a first-round pick. A first-round pick means more money. It'd be good for him, but I lean towards more so no with the Chicago Bulls. Of course, anything could happen on June 23rd. I'll be live for the NBA draft. My San Antonio Spurs, as it stands out right now, have 4 picks. It's going to be an exciting time. Weird. Actually, the Spurs are now tied with the Timberwolves for the most picks because the Oklahoma City Thunder have traded a pick away, so they have dropped down to 3. The Spurs and Wolves both have 4. The Spurs drafting respectively at 9, 20, 25, and 38. The Timberwolves drafting at 19, 40, 48, and 50. I want to close with this. I see a lot of NBA analysis and websites, and a Filipino website, a couple of Filipino websites, and reporting that there was an NBA scout that said Kai Sotto hasn't looked good in workouts and probably not going to get drafted. And I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it because I've seen other things say there's some buzz continuing to grow with him as the draft is coming up. He offers a very interesting, unique skill set, being able to throw down thunder dunks of justice, hit a 3, have a jump shot, block shots, a very solid passer. He's very young. And from what I've read, just has a willingness to learn, to want to strive to be better. And he's a Tim Duncan fan. So, how can you go wrong there? So anything's going to happen. Anything can happen. Anything will happen next Thursday. And I think Kai's going to go where it is. I don't know, but I'll rooting for him. And I'll be very happy for him when he's drafted. If it's not the San Antonio Spurs, it's going to be a mixed reaction because we'll be like, yay, darn it. One of those deals like, I'm happy for you, but crap. But I hope my team grabs him, and ideally would be the 38th overall pick. The Spurs shock the world and take him in the first round because right now, again, he's not expected to go in the first round. If they take him at 20 or 25, then hey, whatever. I'll support my team. I'll support him, and I'll support him wherever he goes. It's a fun story. I like covering it, and that's all I got. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Until next time, go Kai go!